All right, y'all. What up, YouTube? I'm back again with another live video, and I'm back to the book reading. So, as y'all can see, I've been stuck on this Timmy Terrell book, my sister Tommy, the real Timmy Terrell. But I wanted to get back into Trayvon. Dang, I'll be jumping from book to book. I was reading Alicia Keys, Jill Scott, in a few of these other books. I keep jumping to book and book. Now I'm stuck in between Trayvon and Tammy. Well, anyway, y'all about to get some more Trayvon Martin. This is Rest in Power, The Enduring Life of Trayvon Martin by Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin. Um, I'm guessing I read all of this. All right, yeah, I read all of this. This is chapter 11, Sabrina, March 12, 2013 to July 27, 2013. Damn, hold the hell on. How long was this chapter? Hold on. I don't know why these chapters be so damn long. Jesus, peace. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. This is a lot of damn pages within this one chapter. Alright, we gonna see how long I feel like reading. 'Cause baby, this is a lot of damn pages just for one chapter. Anyhow, so anyway, before I get to reading, each chapter is based off of the first name of whoever's narrating that chapter. So if it's Trayvon Martin's mom, Sabrina, it will say Sabrina. Or if it's his father, it will say Tracy. And it will also say the dates the events occurred. Almost a year had passed since the April 11th arrest of the man who killed our son. We continue to get the word out, doing media interviews, traveling to rallies and events, and telling the world how we feel in the hope that as many people as possible would be aware that the case of the man who killed our son was finally going to trial. Supporters continue to come to our side. Our constant ally, Michael Skolnick, and the music producer Russell Simmons brought our social injustice to social media and broadened the platform. Then the Oscar winning actor Jamie Foxx came to our side to in support. Hold on. Let me turn this light on 'cause I don't know why everything seems so damn blurry. It began at the 44th annual NAACP Image Awards on February 1st, 2013, where from this stage, the legendary entertainer and civil rights activist Harry Belafonte called upon celebrities and leaders of the entertainment industry to channel the power of their fame into standing up for the rights of others, as he had stood by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the civil rights movement. When Jamie Foxx stood up to accept an award that evening, he gave an impromptu speech accepting the mantle from Harry Belafonte and the responsibility of his power to help bring about change. From that moment on, Jamie joined us in our fight for justice for Trayvon. I remember him wearing a shirt with Trayvon Martin on it. I don't know if that was the BET Awards or something, but I do remember I do remember him wearing a shirt with Trayvon Martin picture on it. 2 weeks after the NAACP Awards, he joined us on February 26, 2013 for our peace walk on the first anniversary of Trayvon's death. He was instrumental in galvanizing the support of other celebrities and bringing our fight for justice to a far wider audience. During the award ceremonies, he traded in his tuxedos for shirts that he had specially made with Trayvon's image to show solidarity with our family in our case. Excuse me, in our cause. I'm sorry. I knew I was right because I do remember watching him at the BET Awards or somewhere with a shirt with Trayvon Martin on it. I'm absolutely committed to all you out there who have young kids. He told me at one point, I hope you never had to go through anything like this. We also had invaluable support from radio, the national radio star Tom Joyner, who played an enormous role in getting the word out about our case on his show. We also wanted people to know how we felt as parents about how our son was killed and the unfairness of the justice system. It was important for us to stay focused. Parson Crump told us that we all, Tracy Gerards and I, would have to provide depositions about a month before the trial, which was now scheduled to begin with jury selection on Monday, June 10th, 2013. I knew a little about depositions. I had given a deposition before when I was pregnant with Trayvon. It was over a confrontation at my workplace. I was a dispatcher at the time, and I saw two employees going to an office for a meeting over a dispute they had a few days before, and they came out of the office with what we thought was a resolution. As they were leaving the meeting, one employee shot the other in the back. Oh, wow. The employees' union brought people in to try to iron things out. Several months later, along with other witnesses, I was called in for a deposition on that case. This was many years before our tragedy. So for our son's case, I knew I'd be drilled with questions and that the defense would be looking for contradictions, uncertainties, or weakness to take advantage of during the trial. I knew I would tell the truth in the deposition, just as I always did, but I was still nervous. Dang shit. So I just find it crazy that they had to go through all of this. Y'all son got killed. Like, I'm still confused about this whole case. I really am. And as I read this book, I can only get a little bit more confused with a lot that's going on. It's like y'all son got shot and killed. It's well known that not only George Zimmerman is fucking racist, but a lot of people in Florida seem like they racist too and don't care. It's just a lie. Y'all really gotta go back and watch my Arab video reading this book, or else get the book yourself, and you'll probably feel the same way I feel right now reading it. Oh, it wasn't the state of Florida versus Trayvon Martin. It certainly felt like he was on trial. My deposition was scheduled for March 15, 2013. I don't know what I was doing way back then. March 15th, probably still in school. I dressed in one of my business suits I bought at the mall for media appearances and drove along to a state office building by the Miami International Airport. I walked into a conference room scattered with chairs and people in business suits, divided by a long table. Lawyers against lawyers, us against them. They asked me to sit at the head of the table across from a court reporter who would type my every word in the video camera, which would record my every word and movement. More than a year after losing my son, our road to what we hoped would be justice had arrived in this cold, gray conference room with bright camera lights bearing down on me and a lens fixed on my face in interrogation as if I'd committed a crime. Damn right. Damn shame. And of course, I expected this. I expected to be grilled with questions about things most people don't remember. What did you do 7 months ago and what did you have on? 7 months ago, I was doing well if I could get up, comb my hair, and eat something. At 9:29 a.m., I was sworn in, and Zimmerman's attorney, O'Mara, asked me to state basic facts about myself for the record: my name, birthday, children's names and birthdays, where I lived, with whom, and when. Why they gotta ask all these goddamn questions? I mean, answer all these damn questions. We are under a court order that certain information that we gather through depositions will be held confidential. O'Mara explained. That includes such merits as your address and other demographic information. So I'm going to ask you those questions, but with the understanding that we understand that should reports be identified, such as a transcript, that it would similarly be redacted or maintained confidential. You know what I mean by that? I understand what you're saying. Yes, I said, even though I knew that information had consistently been leaked out for over a year about the case, including our home address. But now we were supposed to believe that our addresses would be kept confidential if we revealed them. It was a joke. I also knew that State Attorney Angela Corey and her prosecutors had to do everything by the book, while the other side, the killer's attorneys, could be more aggressive. That's straight bullshit. Can I make just one statement? Crumb interjected. Like Mr. Martin, she Sabrina is reluctantly giving her personal address because she does feel that her home and her mother's home have already been posted on internet sites along with very racist comments and blogs and threats to her family. So she is majorly concerned about the safety of her family. It was true. We had been under siege with direct threats threatening posts online and more. Sure, and we certainly understand and agree with it, Selmera. The Zimmerman family has had similar attacks on them with their privacy as well. So we know not only from the desire to keep your information private, but we maintain the same requirement for the Zimmerman family. So I certainly understand the concern. That's straight up bullshit. What the fuck they gotta do with them? At the end of the day, y'all killed their fucking son. So whatever the fuck they go through, they deserve it. Reluctantly, I give them my home address I gave them my home address and told them I had lived there nearly 2 years with my son Gerard and my brother. Then Mark O'Mara asked me a series of questions about my life. Tell me about your employment. What type of work do you do? He asked. Why does that matter? I'm sorry, y'all. This is on my nerves. I'm a program coordinator for the Miami-Dade Housing Agency. I explained I help low-income residents with housing-related issues. I work with a program called Hope VI, whatever that is. I managed the grant, and with the grant money, I was able to provide program services, to the residents of Miami-Dade County. I told him I had been with the housing agency for 10 years and worked as a code enforcement officer for Miami-Dade County Solid Waste Management for about 12 years before that. So for most of your adult career, you've been working in the government system. O'Mara asked, Miami-Dade one way, one place, or the other? Yes, I confirm. Okay, presently, what is your approximate salary at the housing agency? He continued. Why is this any of their business? I told them the amount of salary I received while thinking, what does this have to do with the killing of my son? And I understand that you're presently on sort of a hiatus or a break from that actual employment. He said, leave? Yes, I said, a leave, he repeated. And that being just after Trayvon's passing. Yes, I said, are you still being compensated? He asked. No, I am not. I said, okay, he said. And I understand just from my general knowledge that I'm from the case that you're spending a lot of time working with foundations that had been set up since Trayvon's passing. Yes, I said, and when he asked me to tell him about them, I added, particularly the Trayvon Martin Foundation. I explained that the Trayvon Martin Foundation was set up 6 months after Trayvon's death in August 2012. The Trayvon Martin Foundation will provide advocacy for families of victims of gun violence. I told Mark O'Mara. We are also going to offer a mentoring program to help young adults with conflict resolution and their rights as a teenager. We also going to have a scholarship program opponent, which will help young adults pursue a higher education. Who is in charge of that? O'Mara asks. Right now, the Miami Foundation handles our finances. I said. and we had put together a board. Most of the work we had been doing is on a volunteer basis, but we've been pretty successful trying to get people to help us out. Who's on the board now? He asked. Tracy and I answered. We do have a person acting as an executive director to try to just get us on the right track. So she's been helping a lot. However, right now we're just getting established. I added. He asked the source of the money, and I told him only from donations. The word donations caused the attorney to drill in deeper. Okay, do you have an approximate amount? He asked. No, I don't. I repeated. Okay, less than $10,000. More than $10,000? He pressed. I shook my head. No, I'm not sure. I said. I don't know how much came in. I explained that we had produced two events: a sit-down candlelight dinner in remembrance of Trayvon, and a peace walk and a peace talk to let youth in the community and around the country know that they have a right to walk in peace without being followed, profiled, chased, or shot and killed. As we go through this, he said, I'm certain that it is going to bring to the forefront memories of Trayvon's passing. We as lawyers are sort of trained to stay distance from the emotions of what's going on around us. Sort of like doctors with blood, I guess. I don't mean to be insensitive when I ask you questions about Trayvon, his passing, what you done about it, and things like that, but I know it's very emotional for you. So as we go through this again, if there's a time you want to take a break, I'd rather we take a break, let you gather your thoughts. And even if you say, tell me that, I mean, and even if you say to me that you rather talk about that some other time, because it's going to sound somewhat insensitive as I go through this, but I'm trying to balance the insensitivity the way it presents itself with my job is getting some information, okay? Bullshit. In the motherfucking day, y'all should not be asking her about her money, where she get it from, or any of the questions that y'all have asked. It sound like a bunch of bullshit. I swear it do. Very soon I would become aggravated that they kept asking me the same things over and over again. They would ask once, then go on to something else, and then go back to the same thing. But I tried to hang in there, stay calm. I believe that if I answered their questions, the justice system would work, and the man who shot my son would be held accountable. How much of your time is spent dealing with the Trayvon Martin Foundation? Omer asked. 24 hours, I replied. How did I spend that time? He asked for a while. I try to explain my work, which involved research, contacting other families whose children had died from gun violence, speaking engagements, and the events I attended to get the word out about my son, his death, and the upcoming trial of his killer. I explained that after the trial, we wanted to help families of victims of gun violence through community outreach and to revise the Stand Your Ground law to create a Trayvon Martin amendment. The Trayvon Martin amendment would just simply say that you cannot pursue or follow anyone or be the aggressor and then get in a fight and shoot and kill him and say you were standing your ground, I added. I thought he might ask me more about it, but O'Mara kept returning to a single thing fundraising and what we did with the money. Trump objected to some of these questions. Are you paying any salary from the foundation for your work on behalf of it? Mark O'Mara asked. No, I said, okay, how are you making your daily bills and monthly bills? He asked. Friends and family, I replied. I'm going to ask you first, how are things going financially? He asked. Financially, I have friends and family that's been helping me out, I said. This motherfucker get on my nerves where the fuck Mark O'Mara is. He asked about the Trayvon Martin Trust, the Trayvon Martin Foundation, how donations work, and who benefited from them. He asked about my coworker generosity in donating their vacation time to me, how I stay afloat financially without work and filing Trayvon debt. And I answered, my friends and family, my own build up annual leave in 8 or so months of annual donated time, which would end a few months after the deposition in December 2013. I spent my time working to spread the word about the tragedy, but we were never paid to speak or appear on any television show. He asked me to record a large deposit into the foundation, 1,000 to 2,000, and the largest withdrawal 550, which was transferred to the Miami Foundation. I said 550. I mean five. I mean what? Is that 500 or 5,000? I mean, hold on. All right, 5,500. What was I reading? 5,500, which was transferred to the Miami Foundation, which was into the handling our what the entity handling our foundation. He asked who on my home. Had I purchased real estate with it in the past year? Had any real estate been purchased on my behalf in the what does any of this have to do with anything? After practically every penny, nickel, and dime were accounted for, Omer returned the question toward Trayvon, beginning with his academic history, including especially his trouble in school. Omer need to get punched in his fucking nose. That's what he need. Trayvon was just a month into his 17th year when he passed. Is that correct? Omer asked. Not even a month, I replied. Then questions about his character, his transfer from Carroll City High School to Michael M. Crop for his 11th grade year, his falling grades, his truancy, his suspensions in our parent-teacher conferences. Oh my God. I don't remember who contacted me from the school, but one of the things they told me was that although we were actually in walking distance from the school, they said that he was late to school a lot. I said at one point. So what I did was I started taking him to school. They had a student case management referral, which they called Exhibit D from the school, which listed all of Trayvon's problems, something that I, as a parent, had never seen. O'Mara handed it to me. I read from the report. What the fuck? Dead September 26, 2011, 5 months before his death. The certain is excessive tardiness and failure to comply with school rules. It read and indicated a recommendation in the comment indoor suspension. When asked about Trayvon's tardiness, I again told the attorney that once the school had contacted me about it, that's when I decided to start taking him to school. That continued to his death, I added. What did that guy do with anything? I tell y'all, man, this book is something else. They had the records to reflect the precise number of times Trayvon had been targeted, the number of times he had been absent, and other information from various reports that, again, I had never seen. In your mind, as his mother, do you think that Trayvon was going through any type of, my mom used to call it growing pains? I think he asked, not physical, but the emotional kind of growing pain of growing up and not growing up yet. Do you think that Trayvon is going through any type of growing pains when he was in maybe the end of 10th and into the 11th grade? I was once again feeling like my son was on trial instead of the man who killed him. I don't blame you. Well, he was growing up. Yes, I said he was transitioning from boyhood to manhood. So I guess he was, maturing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he went through some different changes. And in your mind, was he having some trouble with some of those changes he asked? I think I shook my head no. I mean, looking back on it, I would say that maybe he had problems with it, but at the time, I just thought that he was a teenager. I said, he drilled in on the tardiness, the suspensions, and the reasons for the latest one. Being in an unauthorized area and finding jewelry in his backpack, as well as a screwdriver, which O'Mara said they identified it as a weapon or something. Did they ever show you this stuff? I shook my head. A lot of stuff is cloudy because it's been a long year, but I want to say that the school administrator, had the jewelry there because he asked if it was mine and it was not mine, but I'm not remembering what the jewelry was, I said. The attorney asked what concern the incident gave me about what Trayvon was getting into. I thought back to the afternoon I picked him up from school after being told about what had happened. And I told Mara that the ride home from school was ugly. Asked him whose jewelry it was and where did he get the screwdriver. Now, of course, he said his friend. He continued to say his friend. I went on and I asked him what friend this was, and he gave me a name. I don't remember a name, but it was a mother son conversation I had with him about that because that was to me the first serious incident in school. He finally asked, "Did that give you concern that Trayvon was going down the path that you were worried about when the school calls? That's serious." And yes, I was concerned. I said he moved on to a disagreement that Trayvon and I had and suggested that in November 2011, I demanded that Trayvon move out of our family home, a house, which wasn't true, no matter how many times Omar asked it. He had read text from Trayvon, which went to say that I had asked him to move out, or he had kicked him out. Out. I don't know why he would say that. I said, O'Mara finally came around to the time just 2 weeks before Trayvon's death on February 13th, 2012, when he was suspended from school. How many more pages I got? Because this chapter is crazy. You know what? I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna come back to this because this chapter is like this is a lot to read. I'll get back to y'all.